Hey guys, Noobkin here. There's been a lot of talk on the forums regarding boundary changes, the electric circle, and ways to balance it. I do like the random position aspect of the circle because it deters endgame camping, and random is pretty fair. It doesn't favor anyone in particular. Sometimes you're dealt a good hand, sometimes you're dealt a bad hand, and as a player you should be able to outplay and overcome the bad hand, so to say. There are a couple of things I would like to see change though. For example, in these two circles, the circle on the left would provide a fair playing field for anyone who's outside the circle. Granted, if you're near the edge, you still have to run a bit more distance than anyone who is closer to the target circle. The circle on the right, however, would favor anyone whom is close to the blue line, close to the edge by the blue line, and disfavor anyone who is close to the edge by the red line, because they will both have to travel a much larger distance. But that's not the only issue. The real issue is that with the circle on the right, if you're near the edge by the red line, the circle wall will enclose much, much quicker than how fast the circle edge will enclose by the blue line. And that's the real kicker in my opinion. I wouldn't mind traveling a large distance, but the fact of the matter is that this wall will almost always travel quicker than you can run. And it seems as if the only way for you to really get through this open distance, through campers and whatnot, is to find a vehicle. And if you don't find a vehicle, you're pretty much screwed. How this works is the circle's boundary encloses by a fraction or a portion of the distance remaining. So if we have to travel 200 yards in 10 seconds, this edge would be traveling at 2 yards per second. Now, on the other hand, if this edge is 20 yards away in 10 seconds, it would be traveling at 0.2 yards per second. So it would highly favor anybody who is already closer to the circle. And I think that is really unfair. I do have a solution to this problem, and it may seem a bit weird. But the solution is to have the edges travel at a uniform speed towards the target circle. Now, while the boundary is moving, it will no longer be a circle, and it may be kind of hard to imagine what I'm talking about, but I've written a small program to illustrate what I'm trying to say. If it were to be implemented this way, it would give everyone an equal opportunity to at least outrun the circle's edge, and it would impact anyone near the red line or the blue lines the same. Granted, the blue line guy would still have to travel less, but the red line guy wouldn't have to travel a further distance at a much greater speed. So let me pop open this program real quick. All right, so as you can see, this line gets there first. However, every other portion of the circle is traveling towards the target circle at a uniform speed. This isn't traveling quicker than how fast this traveled. And I promise you this is lining up with the edge of the circle. I'll move this blue circle somewhere over here so you guys can see a little bit better what I'm talking about. So every portion of the enclosed boundary circle is traveling at a uniform speed towards the target circle. This side of the circle isn't traveling faster than this side of the circle. I believe that would give everybody a much fairer opportunity to get into the target circle. Let's see if I move the blue circle down and to the left. I mean, this may even be an interesting mechanic, have target circles outside of the larger enclosed area, but I don't know who would want that. Now, this is just to kind of give you a better idea of how this bigger circle would travel. And so every portion of the larger circle corresponds to a portion of the smaller circle, and it travels towards that at a uniform speed. There's no specific section of the larger circle that would be traveling quicker than a section that was closer to the target circle. Oh, hopefully something like this can be implemented. I mean, from a programming sort of standpoint, it wouldn't be very hard. Same with graphical. And have a nice day, guys. Bye.